In a packed high school gym, a custodian spills a mop bucket and becomes the target of a chant until a star player steps off the bench and helps clean it up while scouts watch. The choice costs the player minutes and social capital, but it shifts the room and reveals quiet burdens on both men. Small acts ripple out across the school, changing routines and the way people see each other without anyone giving a speech. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And hey, where are you tuning in from? Leave your country in the comments. I love seeing how far these stories reach. Under the scoreboard, the custodian checks a flickering bulb. He stands on a short orange ladder, 1 foot planted, 1 foot floating. His keys clink against his belt each time he shifts. The gym smells like lemon cleaner and popcorn. The band warms up in the corner. A drum thumps. A trumpet squeaks and then finds the note. He screws the bulb tight, tests the switch, climbs down, and stacks the ladder against the wall like he's lining up dominoes. He moves a row of folding chairs 2 inches to the right. He smooths a wrinkle in the baseline tape with his palm. He rubs a black scuff mark with a white pad until the wood shines again. A few students in red hoodies step around him without seeing him. A little kid in a tiny jersey waves. He waves back. The little kid's mum pulls him along. The custodian's face folds into a small smile that fades as fast as it came. He pushes a grey cart with a mop bucket that has seen better days. The handle sticks. The wheel on the front left wobbles and squeaks. He frowns at a mop bucket with a wobbly wheel. He crouches, gives the wheel a push with his thumb, and it spins half a turn like it's thinking about it. The sound system pops and the announcer tests the mic. 1, 2, he says. Chairs scrape. Sneakers squeak. The custodian lines up the wet floor signs along the sideline. Almost time, he says to nobody. He checks the clock on the wall and the one on his phone. His watch face is scratched. The band hits a pep song. He flips the mop wringer and pulls the handle slow. It resists, then gives with a groan. Tonight is a big game. They all say it. Crosstown rival. Packed bleachers. Sky blue faces painted with numbers. There's even a folding sign on the stats table with a fresh marker line. On the stats table, a small card reads, "Scouts, please check in." A man in a college polo taps his pen and glances at the court. The custodian drags the bucket toward the free-throw line to catch a sticky patch he's seen 1,000 times. He sets the mop head down and runs it back and forth, a slow X pattern that eats grime. When he lifts the mop, a corner of the head snags on a bit of tape. He frees it, stands, and pushes the cart forward. When he yanks, the wheel catches a seam, and the bucket tips. For a second it hangs like it might change its mind. It doesn't. Soapy blue water spills in a cold wave across the orange paint. It slides under the 3-point arc and toward the bench. It spreads under bright lights, thin, then glossy, then deep. Students laugh. A chant starts. Mop, mop, mop. A few clap in time. The announcer leans toward his mic and pulls it back, unsure. A referee jogs over and points to the big clock. "We can't start like that," he says to the custodian without malice. The coach folds her arms, eyes tight. "Let's go," she says, not to him, but to the air, because the air might move faster. The custodian plants his mop and starts to pull the water back toward the bucket. He moves quick, but not frantic. He's done this with coffee in hallways and milk in the cafeteria, and one time a whole jug of red punch in the band room. He pushes, lifts, rings, pushes, lifts, rings. The wheel on the bucket squeals like a tiny violin. He grimaces. On the bench, a tall boy in a white home jersey number 11 ties his shoe. He is all angles and calm breath. Braid tails peek out under his headband. Tape runs around one wrist. He hears his name somewhere high in the bleachers. He does not look up. He bounces his knee. He glances at the court, at the water sliding toward the lane, at the man alone in the middle of it. He looks down the row. Teammates stare at their phones or the scoreboard. The coach scans the crowd. The ref drags a shoe across the floor and frowns at the shine. The scout leans back in his folding chair and writes something. The boy's stomach clicks. Like a switch going on, he stands, strips off his warm-up, and walks towards the spill. The bench creaks as he leaves the line of bodies. The coach's head whips. "Hey," she says, not loud, not quiet. He nods once as if he heard somebody else. He steps on the court in socks to keep from tracking dirt. Up close, he sees the custodian's hands shaking just a little. He grabs the second mop from the closet without asking. It's old, and the head is thin. It will do. The custodian looks up. His eyes say surprise and something like worry. The boy shrugs like it's no big deal. I got this side, he says. That is all. The custodian nods. They start in the middle and work out. The gym air changes. The chant dies in the student section like somebody turned a knob. The band stops mid-line. The announcer leans away from the mic and lets the hum of the lights fill the space. A little kid in the front row holds out a paper towel roll like a sword offering. A woman in a red scarf stands and hands her scarf to a girl, then takes off her coat and offers it like a barrier for wet shoes. Nobody takes it. They don't need a barrier. They need hands. They work in a rhythm, push and lift, push and lift. The custodian rings the mop, and the boy clears the edge with long pulls. The custodian moves the wet floor signs closer. The boy drags a towel along the baseboard with a kneel and a reach. A ref steps back and gives them space. The coach says nothing. Her whistle hangs from her neck like a quiet thought. Near the table, the scout writes again, bites the top of his pen, and watches without hiding the fact that he's watching. The boy can feel that look. He feels his coach's look too. He keeps his eyes on the water and the line where dry wood meets wet. He is careful in a way anyone can see. He misses the team huddle. The bench shifts. The drum line taps once and stops. When the floor is safe, the boy returns the mop and jogs back to the bench. He hangs the mop in the closet and closes the door with a click. He slides into his seat. He grabs a towel and rubs his socks, then pulls on his shoes fast. He ties his laces tight. His breath is steady. His ears ring with the quiet. He sits without complaint as the tip-off happens without him. The ref tosses the ball. The rival center wins and taps it back. The crowd roars and then settles. The coach leans down toward his shoulder and says, "You'll go in soon." He nods without looking up. He knows he will. He also knows that soon is not now. He leans forward with his elbows on his knees and watches the lanes like a study. The custodian rolls the bucket back to the closet and checks the lock. He looks at the little river that used to be trouble and sees clean wood there now. It gleams. He stands a little taller, like his spine remembers how. Halftime comes like a breath. People stand and stretch. The band plays again. The student section chants a name that isn't his. In the shadow by the door, the custodian checks his phone. A text sits on the screen. "Dialysis went fine. I'm bringing her home." He closes his eyes for a second. He puts the phone in his shirt pocket. The hospital bracelet peeks out of his wallet when he shifts. He slides the wallet deeper and presses the flap with his thumb. In a corner of the bleachers, a little girl draws on a program with a blue pen. She holds it up to show her brother on the bench when she thinks he looks up. He doesn't. He is wiping the bottoms of his shoes with a towel. He pulls at the tape on his wrist and tightens it once more. Under the tape in Sharpie, there is a time. 9:30. He has to be at the bus stop then to pick up his sister. He doesn't think about it. He just has it written where he can't miss it. On the table, the scout flips his paper and writes on a new page. He circles a name and draws a small star. In the margin, he scribbles a note that is not about points per game. He watches how the boy walks when he checks out and sits down. He notices how the custodian knocks the closet door with his knuckle like a habit. The second half is close and loud. The boy goes in at the 6-minute mark. He does fine. He plays defense like his shoes are glued. He runs the lane. He doesn't force shots. He feeds the post. He misses one open three and makes the next one from the wing. People cheer. The coach claps with 2 fingers and a whistle in her teeth. The scoreboard numbers change in pairs and then in singles. The horn ends it. The handshakes happen. The music blares again. The man in the polo folds his chair and slips out a side door. The boy unties his shoes slow. The coach nods toward him and then toward the custodian without saying anything out loud. Some gestures say plenty. After the game, nobody makes a speech. The boy bends to pick up a crumpled program on the lane line and drops it in a bag. He lifts a half-full water bottle from under a seat and empties it in a trash can before tossing it. He looks up to find the custodian's eyes. The man is pushing his cart again, saying squeaky wheel, less rush now. "Thanks," the man says. His voice is low and even. Practical guys don't waste words. The boy nods. "Any time?" he says. They both know he might not be there the next time the wheel sticks, and still he says it like it could be true. He heads toward the exit. His little sister waits on the blue bench by the door with her backpack on her lap. The boy's little sister waits on the blue bench by the exit, swinging her legs. She smiles with a front tooth missing. "You were late," she says like a joke. He taps his wrist tape, peels it off, folds it small, and tucks it into his shoe. "Let's go," he says, and they go. Next week, the student section leaves their row almost clean. A kid in face paint walks down with a grocery bag and fills it with empty cups. He does it like a dare, and then other kids copy him like they're in on the dare. A girl wipes a spill on the step with her sleeve and laughs at herself. They have their own pride about it, like they found a new game. 2 days later, a new mop bucket shows up in the custodial closet. It has sturdy wheels and a smooth wringer that slides instead of screams. There is no card on it, just a shipping label with the school's address. Someone paid attention. Somebody paid money. The custodian spins the wheel just to hear the silence. The coach starts a new habit. The last 5 minutes of practice, she blows the whistle and hands out towels. 1 lane each, she says. Players drop to a knee and wipe in slow lines. Nobody grumbles after the first day. It goes faster when they don't grumble. They learn the dead spots on the floor. They see the work the wood takes. The announcer starts saying the custodian's name before the game like the band directors and the seniors. It's short. It's said into a room that half listens. It still lands. The scout at the big game tells a story at a dinner later that week about a kid who missed the tip. He doesn't say the school. He says character. And someone at the table who never watches high school ball decides to check their schedule next Friday. The custodian takes his sister to dialysis again on Thursday. He drives slow. He plays the radio low. He parks in the same spot. He is quiet in the lobby because the chairs there make him sleepy if he isn't. He reads yesterday's sports page again and folds it along the same crease. He thinks about the sound a new mop makes when it moves. He thinks about the way the boy held the handle like it belonged in his hands. There is a kind of quiet that lasts longer than a cheer. It's the kind that shows up later, when the lights are off and the floor holds heat, and the room remembers a thing for you, so you don't have to keep saying it. People go on being who they are. They make more mess. They catch more spills. They see somebody bending and they bend too. Not all the time. Enough. In the morning, light slides through the glass blocks by the gym door. It comes in slanted and soft. The custodian walks in with coffee in a cardboard cup and a donut bag under his arm. He sets them on the stats table, flips one switch and then another. The scoreboards blink awake. The little red dots come on like tiny eyes. He hangs the mop on its hook with the clean ones, head fluffed and ready. A single orange ball rests at mid-court, and the glossy floor holds a soft, clear glow. In the quiet, you can hear distant sneakers in the hallway and a single bird outside the high window. The new bucket's wheels don't squeak when he nudges it with his shoe. He smiles once with no one to see it. He takes a sip of coffee. He plucks a thread from the baseline tape and pockets it like a habit. And then he moves on to the next thing that needs doing.